Hi everyone, we're getting into the Halloween mood here. There's both me and Laura. We don't get her on the other side of the camera very often. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds here for people to jump in. Hey, nice to see your faces. I will reintroduce Laura now that some of you are arriving. I was saying we don't get her on this side of the camera very often, but it seemed like a really good opportunity because, of course, our pattern this week is her scarf, the Mizen scarf pattern. So I pulled her in so she can talk a little bit about it, and also we can explain some of the different yarns and bits and pieces like that. So if you have any questions about the yarns or specifically different stitch patterns or things that you think might be useful, just pop them up in the comments like always, and we'll answer them as we start working through. But lovely to see all of you here today. So we'll get started. We'll start off first of all talking about the Mizen pattern here. So this is Laura's second pattern.
Yeah.
The first one was
The bobbin hat.
Bobbin hat from the Celtic Knits Club last year. And the scarf here, I'll let you hold it up so we can see.
I'm going to hold this up. It is a cable-y scarf. It goes through a few different stitch patterns. You've got the blackberry, you've got double cables leading in, more blackberry, and then this is one which I really like, which is the chain link cable. Which is
in here.
Really
is that similar to the one that was in the bobbin hat? Well, not the, like just the middle part, the way the bumps happen. Yeah, that's a really cool effect.
I'm on that one at the moment. And then you've also got a garter edging down at the bottom. Throw this over, and you've got tiny little cables that lead in to the edge on both sides.
I think it's actually one of my favorite bits of it because it gives it a very professional finish. I think the edge of it, because often with scarves you can end up with slightly raw looking edges, whereas these little cables on the edge here just give a beautiful edge effect.
They're almost lacy.
Yeah,
they're almost
really pretty.
Up close you can see that they're
hopefully
you
can see. There we go. We give you a good.
Yeah, you can see the direction of them there.
Yeah, no, they're really pretty. And you probably notice with this that the yarn has got a little bit of a halo. And this was, I think, one of the things that probably took you, almost as long as figuring out the stitch patterns is deciding on the yarn combination. Because you knew, what were the kind of qualities you were looking for in the yarn?
So I knew I wanted it to be really light. I knew I wanted it to be kind of variegated, the colours, warm and ever so slightly fuzzy. I want everything to be, fuzzy is not the right word, is it? Like
a halo. Yeah, I think halo is probably a better word. Well.
And so I really did try a lot of different yarns, and one of the first ones that I thought of was the Blosta Light by itself.
Because you had tried the Blosta first of all, the heavier weight Blosta, but it was a bit thick. Yeah.
And so
then this is
started
Blosta Light here
with the Blosta Light, which is a fingering weight. It's 100% wool. And this is amazing, and this is one of my favourite wools at the moment. But then when you pair it with the Cabrito lace weight mohair from Manos, it's amazing. And that's what you're looking at here.
Mm-hmm. It kind of, I think it adds to, the two of them enhance each other, because this by itself is obviously really light, but it's very warm, and it does have a halo, but it's super fine. Yeah. But the Blosta, it's a woolen spun single ply, so it doesn't have a huge amount of inherent strength, but when you put it with the mohair, the two of them together actually have a lot more strength. You can knit the Blosta quite loosely, and the halo fills in the bits in between, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, so this scarf is actually knit up on 5mm needles,
which is a little bit crazy for a fingering weight yarn and a lace weight one held together, and it doesn't feel especially loosely knit.
No,
but it's light. You pick it up and it's got this really light bounce.
Yeah.
As you can probably tell, we're really fond of this fabric.
It's happening.
We actually liked it so much that, the brioche sweater that I finished designing and have out for testing at the moment, I jumped on the bandwagon. I let her find the combination first of all, and then when I started knitting with it, I'm like, oh, love it too. So we actually, because often it's the combination of colours that is kind of interesting to work with. We did an awful lot of swatching. So the two fluffy ones that we swatched with was This one here is the Capriccio from Manos del Uruguay, and the other one is Isho Sensei. So this one is a 75%, or is it 70 or 80?
Silk mohair.
Yeah, it's silk and mohair and silk, I suppose, because it's mainly mohair, a little bit of silk. This one is mohair and a little bit of polyamide. So they work up in the same way, and they've got the same kind of feel, same weight. Slightly different in yardages, but that would be due to the fact that there's silk rather than polyamide. But the weight of it feels the same, just the yardage is ever so slightly different. Yeah. But yeah, combining one of these with a solid is kind of interesting.
It's really good.
These two were, you know these names
Marble.
better than me. This is Marble, and that one is the Leah, which is the Blosta Light one. And that's what the sample is of.
That's what the sample's knit in, yeah. The Blosta Light in the Leah and the Marble of the Capriccio.
And so, the next two here, we've got, I'll let you hold up the...
Okay, so the swatch.
The swatch here. You can see it's mainly cream, but there's a few little other colours put through, and that is our Nadur.
Blosta Light,
and
the Tisa.
The Tisa. So these two together. And the Tisa varies a little, because this one is quite a cream Tisa. Some other ones would have stronger pink, others have stronger blue tones through it. So they do vary a little. They all work very well, but they definitely have, kind of a slight variations in the colours, because those ones are all hand-dyed. So the next one here we have this is kind of a pretty one too. This is the Ore from the Blasted Light. Yes, you're so much better with the names. And this is the mustard. So the two of those together, if I put them in, you can see they're kind of tonally a little different, which we discovered actually works quite well, because it gives it a bit more of a depth, I think, because we had one of the swatches we were doing was ones where we tried to match the two tones very closely, and it ended up coming a bit flat.
Yeah, it did. I think we swatched the Farraga. Actually, I remember what we swatched. We swatched the Farraga with a kind of foresty green, which would have been quite similar, and they were just too close.
Yeah, and it doesn't add an extra depth to it.
No.
Oh, hang on, we've got a question coming up here. Joe, you want to know the name of the scarf?
The Mizen scarf. We should have said that. It's called the Mizen scarf.
Or we should repeat it a few times over.
The Mizen.
Yeah.
Mizen. That's named after a place in Cork, which is quite close to a lighthouse, and it's very beautiful, and so that's what the scarf is named after.
And it's also, while it wasn't the same lighthouse, it was another lighthouse that the photographs were taken in, which is why you've got lighthouse and the sea behind it.
Yeah, this scarf is basically just the west coast of Ireland. That's the whole
Joy. And the sweater. I'll talk about the sweater in a minute. I promise I'll get to the sweater, because that's another exciting story for today. We're very excited today, as you can probably tell. We seem to have a lot of, it's just been an exciting kind of day. We'll keep going through the different colours here. We're on to, this is the green and
emerald.
It looks a little darker here, but interestingly that's actually the combination of the two of these. So
that's what we have here.
Lost to Light is emerald and
the pool green.
Pool green.
Right? Yes.
And this is the combination here. Elsa Louise, can you cumulus instead? You definitely could. It's slightly heavier, but for a scarf where if the gauge is going to be a little wider, it's not going to cause any problems.
Yeah, I think it would be fine, and because it's up on 5s, you'll get a like slightly denser fabric, I would say, but I think it would be really fine. Yeah, I think it would be lovely, actually.
Yeah, because particularly if you if you don't like mohair, then cumulus is a really good option because of the fact that it's alpaca going on with it. Yeah. So that is the emerald green and the pool. I think we have a few more. All right, here we go.
Yes.
I don't think we have the second one with that. We've just got the sample.
Yes, we have the sample.
Too many. All right, this is again another kind of really deep greeny, where we've got, this is the Farraga, which is actually a very cool green colour, and this is the aquamarine. So the two of these together combine into this one. So you can really see how you can start envisioning how it's going to go, and you can probably see, because there's a little bit of variation, it adds a nice depth to that. So if you're matching colours, kind of keep that in mind, that you want close-ish, so it's not too jarring, but you don't want identical, because then it just seems to go a bit flat. So that's been our discovery with the swatching. Yeah, last one here. This is again the same Blosta baseline, but we've now
primrose.
But it's primrose this time, so it's kind of, it makes it a little lighter than this, but a little darker than the Nadur. So I'm going to actually pull up the second one of the samples. Where is it?
This one?
Yeah, because this is the same Nadur underneath it, but it's the Tiza versus the primrose. So you can see how much colour difference you actually get from that very fine little filament of mohair going through it.
Yeah, it makes a really big difference.
Yeah, so this was definitely fun because we got to, it's like building your own yarn to a certain extent.
Yeah, it is. You get to really find what you're looking for, and then you get it in a scarf.
Yep, exactly. So I'm going to mohair our suri. Hang on a second.
The sensei. Let me see if I can show you. So these two are mohair blends. Neither of those are the suri alpaca. We do have a cumulus yarn, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one I was just trying to remember. Yeah, so the sensei is 60% mohair and 40% silk.
And this is 80 mohair and 20 polyamide. So,
with cumulus, celestial, and Farrago worth.
Ooh, that might be interesting. It's quite a big. It's the quite bright blue. It's almost like the brightest blue.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be quite a contrast.
Yeah. It would work, but it's going to look a little bit more marled, I think, when you knit that up. It's kind of going but it will work. Just look a little different. Yeah. Like in terms of Farrago, what would the cumulus that would be the closest?
I think the teal might be really interesting with the Farrago, or the slate would also be quite interesting. So the teal will bring it up a little bit brighter, and then the slate will darken it. So it just depends which effect direction you would like to go for.
Yeah. That was well put. I'm just checking. I think we've answered all of the questions.
Okay.
Will I let her go off, or will I keep her here for a bit longer?
Ask her about her jumper.
So I will tell you about the jumper now, because we're very excited this morning. And in fact, there's a short video that we put up in stories earlier on where we had Laura tried on the jumper, and I'm actually surprised she ever took it off because it's extremely comfortable. This is what option if you can't wear mohair? Cumulus. Cumulus is going to be your alpaca and silk. So cumulus is going to be the...
Oh, thank you. Okay, I'll stay for you.
But if I stand back, you may recognize this. The split, the stitch pattern, and the shoulder detail. This is...
Hawthorn. It's the Hawthorn.
My brain is going today. It's Hawthorn, but it's in Blosta. We got a second sample of it made up, and it just came in. And I want to thank our sample knitters so much. She may be on here, and if you are, I really, really do appreciate it coming in, because we absolutely adore the sweater. Yes. And I forget, Blosta, when it's washed up, it has actually a really nice quality, because it's very airy, it's very fluffy, and it's light and it's warm, and you never want to take it off. Oh. So this was about 5.5 skeins for, I think it was the second size, so the same size as the original sample was in. And so it makes it a really cost-effective way of doing Hawthorn. So if you want to do a second version, or if perhaps you were priced out of the original in the newer worsted, this version is going to work really well also. Next to the neck here, it is, if you're very sensitive to wool, this is not going to be as soft as Nua, but it's pretty darn soft. But it is a 60% Irish fleece, which is never going to be quite as soft. But yes,
it's amazing.
I'm going to pull over. We were actually coming up with a few different colours for it. So this one. It's the same colour, just it's single rather than two ply. This is what we knitted in here. And the other things that we haven't put them up yet, but obviously you can jump in and see the Blosta as well. So there's Duoc here, so for a very vivid blue, Quilta, and this one is the Spare. And I actually think this would be really nice. This marl, I think, would be really fantastic in it. We've just had Nadia pop in wondering if she had missed the giveaway chat. And you have not. We were just talking about our scarf, first of all. So you want to come in and talk about the... I'm not letting you get away yet.
I'm still here.
We've got, for Halloween this year, we've got a really fun giveaway. Because we don't do an awful lot of giveaways or sales and things like that. But this year we kind of wanted to do something a little bit different, and we're putting in a giveaway where we've got a really big prize as the main prize, where everyone who is, if you place an order between today, the 27th, and the 31st on our shop for over €50, you're going to be entered into a raffle. There will be 20, I was going to say 20, I don't have enough hands. We need your fingers as well. There's 20. there's 20 digital prizes. There will be books, patterns, discount codes. Did I miss anything?
Books, patterns, and
discount codes. Yes, and a few other. We may throw a few other little surprises in along the way. So there will be 20 of those that will be drawn for the raffle, and then we're going to have one very big prize for a Celtic Knits Club. So we'll have, as with last year, the Celtic Knits Club goes from a wrap version up through the different sweater sizes, and we will have a complete Celtic Knits giveaway for the wrap in your choice of colour. That's going to be the top prize for our giveaway, and all you need to do to enter into it is place an order on the website for over €50 between today and the 31st, and you'll be automatically entered into that raffle. Last year, Alison Burke, I don't know if you're on here, Alison, but she actually joined me last month for the retreat we had down in Kerry, and she was last year's prize winner and really enjoyed being part of it and getting such a substantial prize. So if you want to be in a chance with getting that prize, just place an order over the weekend. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the more traditional Irish version of Halloween, which will be Samhain, and how it morphed into our Irish interpretation of Halloween, basically, you can take a look on our website, and Emer has written a really nice blog post about Samhain that if you want to know a little bit more about, I suppose, Irish history and
just where it started for us.
It is
traditions.
It's really interesting because like with a lot of countries where there would have been a strong pagan tradition, as other particularly Christianity and other things layer on top, it gets morphed into something totally different. And Emer wrote about that, so it's very, very interesting and well worth a read. She's a very thoughtful person. So thank you, Emer. I don't know if she's on here right now. The other thing that I haven't said yet, because I've actually seen the Glasgow School of Yarn pop up here, is tomorrow night I'm going to be travelling to Glasgow in Scotland, and I'm teaching at the Glasgow School of Yarn. I've got 3 classes, and I think there's still spaces available in them. So if you are going to be around at the Glasgow School of Yarn, or if you're close enough that you can get there, come on in and join me for one of my classes. I've got a finishing class, I've got Fit Your Knits, and I've got... you don't know what my third... I'm telling you, my brain is gone this way.
A mystery class.
As a mystery class. It'll come to me. I will let you know what it is in a minute. But there is space in all 3 of those classes, and I would really... Oh, I remember the last one was a variant on the other one on the garments. It is a seamless tips class, specifically looking at raglans and all of the different techniques you're going to use and ways of really improving on each of those techniques. So a subject that is close to my heart because I almost entirely do seamless knits.
Yes.
But I think we kind of did fly through a whole pile of stuff there. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about? You didn't remind me. We've got this... You turn around and you'll spot what I forgot.
Oh! I remember.
There's too many things. There's just too much stuff going on here. Here we go. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the fact that we are going to have to put our prices up on several of the products that are coming in from one of our suppliers because they had a 20% increase across the board. So all of our newer products are which is the other ones?
Some of our fibre spates.
Yeah, fibre spates and coop knits. But we took it as an opportunity to also kind of maybe whittle down a little bit of things that we were going to discontinue. And you're glad to know how to pronounce Emer's name. I know it doesn't look as intuitive as you expect it to be. One of the things that I've put on sale are these Fino mini kits. So it is a whole series of small little skeins. I think they're 20 grams each, so you get 100 grams altogether. And they're really, really good for patterns that combine different colours, where you don't want too much of the colours. Because in fact, I'll let you hold it up here. The book here, Knitting with Rainbows, I did a couple of years ago specifically for this purpose. And what it actually has in it is you've got ones where you could just do a single project where you combine the different colours together, and so mini skeins work really well. Or you take the mini skeins and combine it with one solid colour to just act as kind of little enhancements along the way. So there's a whole pile of ways that you can actually use them, and this means that you can get a bunch of different colours, but you don't have to get enormous skeins if you don't need them. So I've got one of the cowls is back over here. Here we go. So this is one of the cowls that I would have done with it. This particular one is Fenske. No, this is Arch Lane. So if I stand back here, this actually used two. You can see this is a really long one. There's a shorter version of it as well. But it used 2 mini kits so that each one of these doubled up to make it extra long. And these ones also were quite close color-wise, but you can probably see with the slip stitch patterns here that if you had huge jumps between them, it's still going to work because they all play really nicely together with each other. So this is either an individual pattern, or you can get it in the Knitting with Rainbows book. But both of them, just lots of really good ideas for things you can do with mini skeins. I am a big fan of just gradients and mini skeins and things like that. But sometimes you do need a starting point, because it can be a little intimidating when you've got all of these little skeins trying to figure out what to do with them. So the book helps guide you along the way and figure out ways that you can use them together and extend them and stuff like that. So that's really it for us now. So
that's everything.
I want to thank Laura for coming and joining us. I might gradually ease her in. One of these days I'll just sneak out and I'll make Laura do it all by herself, because I'm really mean.
You're very quiet Instagram live.
You're surprised. You get used to kind of coming and talking to people. You're all very friendly on there. It's not too intimidating. But thank you for joining us all today. And I'm not certain, we had been talking about changing up the rhythm of this to doing it every 2 weeks and having a vlog in the week in between. So I'm going to assume it'll be 2 weeks time. I will talk to you on here. If there's something I really want to come in and talk to you about next week, we will post it up, and just keep an eye out on the stories. We'll always have it posted up there if we end up changing the rhythm of it. So thank you for joining us.
Bye.